Welcome back.
See, I love it when we're in sync. To Counterculture! He's Pastor Mark. I'm Andy.
Oh my!
We haven't gotten to do one in a while.
Not in a while.
We've I got sick and all this stuff. But we are back with a vengeance. We are electrifying.
Right.
That's what you just said.
Yes, that's us.
Right?
All right.
Bring the electric. That's what we need.
Is that like a cattle prod? Would that work too, or no? Maybe not.
Have you ever used one?
I have experienced one. Let's put it that way.
Whoa. There's a story.
Yes, there's a story, but I'm not going to tell it. So.
I have been on the receiving end.
Yes, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah.
I have never used one because I'm deathly afraid that that's what would happen.
Yeah.
Somehow it would end up being me.
Yes.
Listen, Book of James has a lot of good stuff.
Yep.
We've just finished it up as a Bible study at my church and down here at the center on Sunday nights. Mm-hmm. And it has been, there's some questions that I have. How about that?
Okay.
All right. So I want to first start with one that we probably have touched on.
Wait a minute. Didn't you answer these questions in your Bible study?
No,
How come?
I left them open.
Oh,
Go do some homework. You figure it out. Let me know.
Okay.
All right. Read for me in James chapter 5, right? Verses, I think just verse 12, actually. Read that for me.
Above all, my brothers, that would include sisters too, do not swear, not by heaven or by earth or by anything else. Let your yes be yes and your no, no, or you will be condemned.
So James writes this fantastic book, right, about living in community. A lot of it is how can we do that? How do we take this individual, personal relationship with Jesus Christ and live together? But in this verse, he's given us a ton of insight, a ton of stuff, and then he says, above all, do this. Let your yes be yes, and your no be no. And I was hit as we were studying this with this concept of why would James say, above all else, let your yes be yes and your no be no, Pastor Mark? What would be the possibilities?
Well, the brother of Jesus probably heard his brother Jesus say this.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to just tell you a little story. I'm on a board for my denomination, for my district. And the chairman and I are really good friends. And he would do this thing. Many people do it. Many church leaders do this. All in favor say aye. Mm-hmm. Those opposed,
nay.
No. Same sign.
Really? I've heard that before.
Yeah. So all in favor say aye or say yes. Those opposed, same sign. Meaning you say aye or yes. So I did a little research. So I had seen somewhere that if you do that, if a chairman or whoever's running the board calls a vote, and they do that, say same sign, it actually counts as a yes. It's a way of getting everybody agreeing.
Unanimity, yes.
Right.
God,
Unanimity. You everybody being unanimous.
It was unanimous.
Right. It was unanimous. So I said to my buddy, I said,
tricky.
I said, I'm going to ask you if you would do something. He says, what's that? I told him. He goes, well, I've never heard that. But he goes, I get it. I said, well, there's another part of it for me. Mm-hmm. You're asking my no to be yes.
Yeah.
And I said, it's a minor thing. I said, probably very few people are going to vote no. But I said, it's the idea that, we're to let our yes be yes and our no be no.
Yeah.
Why did he do that? In answer to your question, that was just a little sidebar I will not charge you for, nor any of you watching this.
Free advice.
Right.
Does not happen very much anymore.
No. So, you do have to charge. I'm going to charge you. You got to watch other videos. And like and subscribe or whatever you do. And punch the button down there and buy the merch. We don't have merch. Do we have merch? We don't have merch.
We don't, but we should.
We should have merch. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. Be the first thing that comes out. So here's... if it's in there, then it's been a problem. Yeah. That's why it's in there.
Yeah.
Because they are probably, and this is important, I think, and it's one of the things we run into in the church, is we're not honest with each other. How you doing, Andy? I'm fine.
Yep.
So I was talking to someone yesterday and was checking in with them, and I said, how are you doing? They said, I'm fine. I said, oh, so you're freaked out, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. That's what FINE stands for. We say it, we don't really mean it, but this is what it means. We're really, and we kind of got a good laugh out of it. But how many times do we do that? Years ago, I had a friend told me she would go to church, and they had Sunday school classes that met out in the hallway. It was a big church because they didn't have enough room. And she said, after church, before church, whatever, people say, "Oh, how you doing?" And she'd start to say something, and then she could tell they didn't really want to know. Mm-hmm. So finally, she said, someone said, "How you doing?" She goes, "Don't ask me unless you really want to know." Uh-huh. She goes, "Do you really want to know?" And they pause for a minute and says, "No, not really."
Yep.
Because they're afraid.
Yep.
I don't want to hear your what you're going through or whatever. How many times do we pastors have to sugarcoat something or have had, don't say that when we really want to say, what you're doing is wrong and you need to go. And I'm just at the age now where I'm willing to say that. Andy, was that probably the best way of handling that? No, it's probably not. But doesn't that help us along better when we are, it is truthfulness, it is honesty to say, I'm really not doing well today.
Yeah.
And shouldn't the church be the place where I can say that? Now, we have people do say that in the church every week, and they're not getting any better. And you're going to get their organ recital. Mm-hmm. Oh, my liver's not working, my kidneys aren't working, I got heart problems, my lungs are bad, whatever. And might go even worse than that. So there's a balance, but when we're truly hurting, I didn't know. I had a guy come into one of my churches one time, and I did not know that he did not have money for groceries.
Yeah.
I just didn't know. And I talked to him, and he never indicated. I didn't think there was a thing. And I said, I wish I would have known. I said, I could have helped. He goes, well, he worked it out or whatever. I'm like, that's what we're here for. Mm-hmm. And so some people take that to an extreme. Other people don't. But I think apparently, now it could also go to another aspect. Maybe they were saying they were believers. We were talking about that a little bit this morning in a separate conversation. But yet they're not living it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key, is about integrity. Mm-hmm. It's about honesty and also a little bit of vulnerability.
Well, as I was looking at this and thinking, there's my responsibility, right? You say, Annie, can we go to lunch today? I say no.
How did you know I was going to ask you?
There's your responsibility, though, as well. Mm-hmm. In order for my yes to be yes and my no to be no, you also have to accept my yes to be yes and my no to be no. Mm-hmm. Right? So as part of this community, as part of this family, when I say no, it needs to be okay.
Exactly.
It needs to not be
yes.
Why?
Right. Now, I was just going to say, I got a buddy who's he's a pastor. He's working on becoming a pastor, and this was several years ago, and he's never forgotten. He told me so. He's never forgotten. And he was like, I hate it when people ask me if I can do something and I can't do it. I said, what do you hate about it? He goes, well, they always ask me why.
Why? Yep.
I said, what do you say? He goes, well, I make up a reason, or I tell them a reason. I said, it's none of their business.
That's a hard thing.
It is. It's a very hard place to get to just say, no. Mm-hmm. Well, why?
Yep.
Asked and answered will shut down just about any argument or questioning like that. Yeah. Asked and answered. If you are a pastor watching this, Pastor Mark gives you permission to say, no, I can't do that. I can't help with that right now. Why? Asked and answered. You don't have to put it that way, but you can just say, I'm not going to be able to help you.
Right.
It may not be it's none of their business about why you can't. You may not I don't want to do that. But you almost say, I need to go have a wisdom tooth pulled or something. That's none of their business. That's a HIPAA violation, by the way, if you tell them that. So that'll be your reason to not do it. Say, and we don't have to give a reason. No. Because if you say yes, they don't say why.
Yeah,
it's only no if you don't agree with me or don't do what I want, then I want an explanation. No. What if I say yes? Well, do you want an explanation why I can?
Yeah. So again, frame it right. If an ask is not really an ask, it's a command.
Yes.
Then tell me, I need you to do this.
Yes.
Right? You need to do this. Don't say, hey, can you come help me?
Yes.
If you ask, can I come help you? And I say no, then it's no. But
exactly.
But if you get upset, then it was never an ask.
Or I like this one. I'll get these kind of vague things. Are you busy? Okay, well, number one, you never ask a pastor if they're busy because there's not a right way to answer it. If I say, yes, I'm busy, well, the pastor's too busy for me.
Yep.
If I say no, well, that pastor doesn't do anything. Okay, so don't ask a pastor that.
They should say maybe.
Yeah, right. So, well, here's what I've done. I've had this done recently, and I said, what's up?
Yeah.
I'll just say what's up. I won't say. Or then here was the other one. I had someone ask me on a Facebook message, and it said, "Can you help me with something? Rob a bank? What? Bury a dead body? What do you mean? Can I help you?" You know, so how I respond. Here's how I responded. It depends.
Yep.
Because I don't know that I can help you until I know what it is.
Yeah, I think again. So if we wrap this up into a nice little bow, if this was really implemented in your church, my church, the church today, how might it change our culture? Because our culture is we always have to have an answer. Like there always has to be a reason. There has to be a backstory. There has to be. But if we were in the church and we really just started letting our yeses be yeses and our noes be no, and we accepted that, right? Can you be on the board of our church? No, I can't. And that's it. Not 100 questions about why you'd be great for it, trying to coerce somebody into it, right?
Right.
But how would this change the culture of our church today?
I think initially it would create tension.
Yep.
Not even initially. In some cases, it would create tension because, well, they won't do what I want. They're not willing to help me.
Yep.
Sometimes the answer is, I can't help you when you want me to help you. I can do it at this time. Well, I need it now. I can't do it now.
Yeah. Yep.
I can't do it now. I will get people say, well, how come the pastor doesn't take my call? I was in a meeting.
Yep.
I don't have to tell you that. I wasn't able to take your call.
Yeah.
I had a lady come to the church one day, knocked on the doors, and when I was there by myself, I would keep the doors locked. I just wouldn't unlock them because I'm like, I'm there by myself, and you don't know there's what's going to happen. And this older lady came. She needed something, and she come. I finally heard she came to one of the doors, and I heard it knock, and I went over to it, and I looked like I could take her if she attacked me or something, but she was a little old lady, and that's a joke, by the way. So. I opened the door and she said, "All your doors are locked." I mean, she was fired up.
Yep.
I says, "Yes, they are." And she stood there looking at me like almost waiting for an explanation about why I locked the doors. And we just stood there looking at each other for a few, 30 seconds, probably if even that. But she finally, she was waiting for an explanation.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not going to give you one. I'm not going to tell you I'm here by myself and, for all I know, you're a little old lady axe murderer, an axe murderer dressed up like a little old lady or something like that. I don't know. I'm telling you, I don't know. So, it's going to create tension.
Yeah.
And especially when you push back and it doesn't have to be nasty. And this is what I told this pastor friend of mine. He was getting ready to be a pastor. I said, we don't owe an explanation.
No.
We don't, but we've somehow in our society, not just church, but in our society, we think, well, we got to give a reason. No, we don't.
Well, and we expect that of God.
Yes.
We think
God,
that
how come you said no?
To answer our questions about why.
Right. Yeah, why? Right.
But
no.
But God follows this principle.
Yes.
Yes is yes.
Yes.
And no is no.
Yes.
Right.
And someday I'm gonna pull kind of a Mom Hanson say, because I'm the pastor and I said so.
Oh, the trump card.
The trump card, yeah, or whatever card, but whatever, yeah.
All right, that's a great way to leave this counterculture. Is your yes a yes and or no, or is your yes with explanation and with explanation? How might your culture change if it was yes and no? How might your perception of God change if He was allowed to say yes and no in your world?
Indeed, because can we trust that Can we trust that God is good, and if He says no, can I just trust that there's a reason He said no?
Ooh, there you go. That's a lot to chew on right there.
Chow down on it.
We'll see you next time. Counterculture.
Grace and peace.